Rain doesn't fall in this town so much as it hesitates, like it's deciding whether Ethan Cole deserves to get wet. He does. He's earned every drop. He's standing across the street from Lily Hartman's bookstore, the one with the crooked open sign she never bothered to fix because she said broken things have character. Through the fogged glass, he watches Noah Bennett drop to one knee. Ethan's hands are in his pockets. Empty. Not metaphorically, actually empty. $41 and a receipt for a bus ticket he can't afford to use. Voiceover low. 5 years ago he chose the money. Tonight he has none left, and neither does his last chance. He doesn't move. He doesn't storm in. That's the tell. A man who's already lost knows better than to fight in front of a crowd. Lily's hand is over her mouth. Whether it's shock or joy, the glass and the rain won't say. Ethan turns to leave. Stops. Looks back once, not at Lily, at the ring. Something about the way the light catches it seems wrong to him, familiar in a way it shouldn't be. Cut to black. 5 years earlier. Ethan's father dies owing more than the family ever had. The kind of debt that doesn't end at a funeral, it just starts a new war. Ethan is 19 and watches men in cheap suits itemize his childhood home like it's inventory. He makes himself 2 promises that day. He will never again stand in a room while someone else decides what he's worth. And he will never let anyone he loves stand in that room either. He meets Lily at the bookstore 8 months later, buying a battered copy of a novel he'll never actually read. He just needed an excuse to keep coming back. She's unimpressed by his money because he doesn't have any yet, and that, more than anything, is why he trusts her. They build something small and real. Late closing shifts. Coffee that's gone cold by the time either of them remembers to drink it. It's not much. It's enough. Then Richard Whitmore's name enters the conversation, a family friend, a man who sees potential in Ethan, an opportunity too specific to be charity. The act closes on Ethan holding Lily's hand outside the shop, saying the line that's going to cost him everything. When I make it, we make it together. Should sound like a promise. Play it like a threat. Whitmore's office smells like leather and certainty. The deal is real, capital, a path out of debt, a life Ethan's father never got to have. Whitmore slides the contract across like it's nothing. It isn't nothing. Buried in clause language is the unspoken condition. Ethan's success is tied to marrying into the Whitmore business, specifically to Vanessa, Whitmore's daughter. Nobody says it outright. Nobody has to. Ethan doesn't sign that night. He tells himself he won't. 3 months later, he's up at 1 a.m. scrolling Vanessa's Instagram while Lily sleeps beside him, her hand still resting on his chest like she doesn't know she's about to be the only honest thing in his life. He's not attracted to Vanessa. He's calculating her, cataloging her life like a man pricing an exit he hasn't admitted he's considering. That's the moment the audience needs to see and Lily doesn't. Not lust. Arithmetic. Worse in a way. The act ends on Ethan closing the laptop and Lily stirring, murmuring his name in her sleep, and him not answering. Ethan doesn't tell Lily about Whitmore's condition. He tells her he's leaving. He picks the cruelest possible version of honest, not I have to, but I want to. He tells her the shop, the cold coffee, the promise outside her door. None of it was ever going to be enough for him. He watches something in her go quiet and permanent while he says it, and he doesn't stop. Lily asks the only question that matters. Is there someone else? No. One word. Certain, this needs to be the shortest line in the entire script. No qualifier, no hesitation beat, nothing for the audience to hide behind later. He says it clean, which is what makes it unforgivable on rewatch. She believes him. That's the part that should hurt, not that she's fooled, but that she trusted him enough not to need more than one word. He leaves before she can cry in front of him. Small mercy if it counts as one. 3 weeks later, Lily is behind the counter, closing up alone when a customer leaves a newspaper on the table. She almost doesn't look. She looks. Ethan Cole. Engagement announcement. Vanessa Whitmore. A studio photo, both of them lit like a product line. The act doesn't end on tears. It ends on Lily very carefully folding the newspaper along its existing crease, setting it down and turning off the lights like it's any other night. The wedding is beautiful the way a hostage negotiation is beautiful. Everyone's smiling, everyone aware of the terms. Finn has the title now. Vice President, corner office, a wife who introduces him at parties like an asset appreciating on schedule. Whitmore calls it partnership. Finn is starting to understand it was never anything but acquisition and he was the thing acquired. Vanessa isn't cruel, likely. This matters more than making her a villain would. She's businesslike about the marriage in a way that's almost merciful, and almost worse because it means Ethan has no one to blame the emptiness on but the deal he signed. Late one night, his phone lights up on the nightstand. Not Whitmore. Not work. Noah, Lily's been different lately. Thought you should know. Hope you're happy, genuinely. Ethan stares at it long enough that the screen dims on its own. He doesn't reply. He doesn't delete it either. He lets it sit there, unread but read, a door he's not opening and not locking. The act closes on Vanessa's voice from the other room, asking who texted. Ethan pockets the phone and says, "No one important." Richard Whitmore dies on a Tuesday mid-sentence in a boardroom, which is either poetic or just efficient. Ethan can't decide which and hates that he's thinking about it at all instead of grieving a man who ruined him kindly. The funeral hasn't finished before the auditors arrive. Whitmore hadn't built an empire. He'd built a structure, leveraged, hollow, criminal in the places that mattered. Finn's name is on documents he remembers signing and documents he doesn't, and the difference stops mattering the moment the SEC does too. Vanessa moves first and moves clean. She has lawyers who separate her name from his before the ink on the subpoena dries. She was never his partner, it turns out. She was Whitmore's daughter managing an asset, and the asset had just depreciated to zero. She doesn't yell. She doesn't cry. She tells him, "I hope you understand this isn't personal," and that sentence is somehow worse than if she'd screamed. 3 months. That's all it takes to lose a company, a house, a marriage, and a name people used to say with respect. Finn sells what isn't seized. He sleeps in a car for 11 days before he lets himself admit that's what's happening. He thinks about Lily exactly once a day at first in the version of himself that still had the right to. Then it becomes twice. Then it becomes the only thought that doesn't feel like drowning. The bookstore hasn't changed. That's the first thing that breaks him. Not tragedy, just the sight of the same crooked open sign still uncorrected, like 5 years were a rounding error to everyone but him. Lily has changed everything else. Ethan doesn't leave town. He tells himself it's because he has nowhere else to go, which is true and also a lie he's comfortable with. He takes work where he can find it, the kind of work that doesn't ask for references. 3 weeks in, he hears the name that used to sign his paychecks. Colton Reyes, a former Whitmore associate now running his own firm, standing in the town hall with a proposal to buy out the block. Lily's block. Small independent leases, all conveniently behind on renewal terms nobody read closely enough. Finn's read this contract before, literally in a different city with a different signature at the bottom. Reyes offers him a seat back at the table. Consulting fee, 6 figures, a reference that could rebuild his name inside a year. All Ethan has to do is what he always did for Whitmore. Find the leverage points, draft the language that makes coercion look like a fair market offer. It's Act 2 with the serial numbers filed off, and Ethan is the only person in the room who recognizes the model because he built it once. He says yes to the meeting. He doesn't say yes to the job, not yet, and that hesitation is the whole act, the same 3-month hesitation he had at 1 a.m. scrolling a stranger's Instagram, except this time he knows exactly what he's hesitating between. The night before the vote, Ethan sits in his car outside Reyes's office with the contract on the passenger seat, and signed and finally names the pattern to himself. "When I make it, we make it together" was never a promise. It was a hostage negotiation with himself, and he'd been losing since he was 19. He walks into the town meeting instead and testifies against the deal, publicly naming Reyes's tactics as Whitmore's tactics, torching the one credential rebuilding opportunity he had left, in front of the one town that already knows exactly who he used to be. The act ends on the vote passing against Reyes, and Ethan sitting alone afterward, having chosen, for the first time in the entire story, the version of making it that costs him everything and enriches no one but Lily's block. Noah finds Ethan outside the town hall before Lily does. That order matters. This conversation happens man to man without her present to soften it or complicate it. Noah isn't angry. Likely, that's the harder choice for the scene and the right one. Rage would let Ethan off easy by giving him something to fight against. Instead, Noah just says he saw the testimony. Says he's known who Ethan was to Lily since before he ever asked her out, and married the timeline into his decision every single day since. Ethan, expecting a fight, gets something worse, understanding. Noah tells him he's ending the engagement. Not because Lily asked. She doesn't know yet, but because Noah watched a man burn his last real opportunity to protect a life he isn't even in, and recognized that as a language Lily's spoken her whole life without anyone answering back. You didn't earn her by doing that tonight, Noah says. But you finally started speaking the only language she ever needed. I just got there first because you left. Ethan says the only honest thing available to him. I don't deserve the ending where I get her back. Noah's answer is the hinge of the entire script. No. But she deserves to choose that for herself. I'm not walking away because I owe you anything. I'm walking away because I don't want to win by default. He takes the ring off before he leaves, guessing but consistent with your setup. Doesn't sell it, doesn't destroy it, just hands it to Ethan without ceremony, saying only, "This was never mine to keep anyway." He walks off before Ethan can ask what he means by that, and the audience is left to do the connecting work themselves. 1 year later, the bookstore has a new shelf, local authors, a section Lily built herself. Ethan works 2 shops down now, contracting, rebuilding something smaller and slower than what he lost on purpose this time. They didn't get back together in a single scene. Certain the script needs to resist that. A match cut of a single conversation solving 5 years would cheapen everything Act 8 earned. Instead, a slow year of him showing up, not asking for anything, doing the unglamorous work Noah once did without announcement. The final image is a framed photo on the bookstore counter, not Ethan and Lily's wedding, not a proposal. Just the two of them, mid-laugh, taken by a customer who wasn't trying to capture anything important on an ordinary Tuesday. Ethan, voiceover closing. I spent 5 years chasing what I thought would make me rich. I was never rich until now. If this story hit you, subscribe. The next one drops Thursday, and it's about the wife who found out too late that her marriage was a merger. Comment below. Should Lily have taken him back, or should she have walked?